Hello Philippines and hello world! Hi to the city of Muntinlupa down to BSBA GMM3.
Welcome! You are watching the Kasali Talks. I am Eliza May Andaya.
And I am Casey Kate A. Dagyo,
And together, we are your hosts.
The story we will be discussing today is titled Sullivan Ford Auto World. It's about a family who owns a car dealership located in Vigan City. And this story was sent to us by this elder's daughter, Mrs. Carol Sullivan Diaz.
Oh, how sweet! Thank you, Mrs. Carol, for choosing to send your story to our program. But wait, did you just say Vigan City? Isn't that the city famous for its well-preserved Spanish colonial town, historical vegan tourist spots, and delicious food and delicacies?
Wow, you sure know a lot.
Not really. I just read somewhere that because of its charm, it has been inscribed as one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Amazing, right? It's one of the 9 sites recognized by UNESCO here in our country.
It sure is. Well, Vigan is also an exceptionally intact and well-preserved example of a European trading town in East and Southeast Asia. It's named after the plant biga, which was most commonly found around the banks of Vigan. I read on UNESCO's website that Vigan City was established in the 16th century.
16th century? That's a long time ago, huh? But it's amazing how they kept it so well preserved. It's still a booming tourist attraction, like the Calle Crisologo, Vegan Cathedral, Bantay Church, and so much more.
Yes! From what I remember, it has total of 233 historic buildings tightly strung along a grid of 25 streets. Also, the structures are built of brick and wood with a steeply pitched roof reminiscent of traditional Chinese architecture.
Wow, so it's like a unique fusion of Asian building design and construction with the European colonial architecture and planning, right? That's amazing. I'd love to visit there someday.
Me too! Should we go with the whole team?
Sure, when our schedules aren't so busy. Anyway, back to the topic. We got sidetracked there. It was like a sudden facts about Vegan City segment.
Right! So back to the topic. We have invited a special guest which will be introduced after the play of Sullivan Ford Auto World. Let us watch the story first. Walter Sullivan purchased an old building in Vigan in 1993. He turned it into a small Ford dealership and named it Sullivan's Auto World. He built it up to make it one of the best-known car dealerships in the metropolitan area. Everybody seemed to know Walter Sullivan. He was involved with the community affairs, and he was always known for his great enthusiasm for sales. Unfortunately, Mr. Walter passed away due to a sudden heart attack. The bank decided to put Carol Sullivan in charge of the business since she has already experience assisting her father in her student days.
The 20-year-old Sullivan twins, Gail and Joanne, often worked part-time as service writers, filling in during busy periods. The job entailed scheduling appointments for repairs and maintenance, writing up each work order, calling customers with repair estimates, and assisting customers when they returned to pick up their cars and pay for the work that had been done. For the past 18 months, the auto world situation had been deteriorating. The reports from sales were lower than those of the previous year and insufficient to cover the dealership's fixed expenses.
From discussions with Larry Winters with the Auto World sales manager, Carol wondered what potential might exist for improving its sales volume and selling gross. She thinks that while her father was still alive, he had never been very interested in the parts and service business, seeing it simply as a necessary adjunct of the dealership. Customers seemed to be miserable back there due to the long waiting times and queries not being answered. Her father is still using legacy system of handwriting and storing files versus computerizing the service, which takes more time to find and arrange. The service facility was hidden behind the showroom and therefore not easily visible from the main highway. The building looked old and greasy. The equipment itself was modern and well maintained. Rick Obert, who was in his late 40s, had held the position of service manager since the Sullivan family considered him to be technically skilled, and he managed the mechanics effectively. However, his manner with customers could be gruff and argumentative, which is one of the problems in the service facility.
Another set of data that Carol had studied carefully was the results of the customer satisfaction surveys that were mailed to the dealership every month. The 9-month survey findings disturbed her. The worst ratings for service concerned promptness of writing up orders, convenience of scheduling the work, convenience of service hours, and appearance of the service department.
Larry, I've been looking all over for you. I have a question.
Oh, what now? Kidding. What is it?
So I studied the customer satisfaction survey. Why aren't our sales rep introducing new customers to the Fox in service department? It's supposedly part of our protocol, but it's only seem happening 1/3 of the time.
Well, Carol, I actually leave it up to them. We advertise the service, but some employees feel a bit uncomfortable taking customers to our shabby service space when they already saw our attractive showroom. It's quite contrast, you know.
What kind of customer service is this? I've already visited Dry's and my car's still not fixed properly. Are you guys doing this on purpose? Stop wasting my money and do your jobs right. Your service stinks. Who's in charge here?
One thing I remember about your dad is that he couldn't stand arrogant customer like that, yelling and asking for the boss. Don't worry, I'll call the guard.
No, I deal with him. One thing I learned when I worked at St. Luke's was don't let people yell about their problems in front of anybody else. You take them off somewhere, calm them down, and find out what's bothering them. Good afternoon, sir. I am the one who's in charge. How may I help you?
Finally, you're here. I have something to say.
That's so? What's your concern?
So that was the case. What a life the Sullivan family is living. Kinda tragic with the death of their father and the situation of their business.
Yes, I agree. Now that we've watched Carol's story, let us invite our special guest who will help us answer Carol's and the viewers' questions. He is currently the marketing analyst of DDGN Incorporation. Please welcome Mr. Denmark David Natan.
Welcome, Mr. Denmark. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Good afternoon, Cassie and Ali, and to all viewers of Kasali Talks. Thank you for inviting me today.
It's our pleasure. So the first question is from one of our viewers from Jenny Ruby Jane asked, how does marketing cars differ from marketing service for cars? Oh, good question, Mr. Denmark.
Marketing a car usually focuses on the buying process of the consumer, involving the transaction to take ownership of the product. On the other hand, marketing service for cars usually focus on the monetary transaction. Time and effort are exchanged for labor and skills, but the ownership of the product is not seen or observed.
The next question is from Suya. Suya asked, can you compare and contrast the sales and service departments at AutoWorld?
The sales department in AutoWorld is responsible for encouraging and convincing customers. Sila yung nanghihikayat ng customers, nag-convince para bumili ng product. While sa service department naman, sila yung nakatoka sa pagre-repair, sa maintenance ng cars or parang yung after sales.
And the last questions from our viewers is from Mr. TBH. He asked, from a consumer's perspective, what useful parallels do you see between operating a car sales and service dealership and operating health services?
Operating an automobile service dealership and healthcare services have different similarities and differences. Healthcare services basically focus or nagdedepende lang sa service. While sa automobile industry naman, nakafocus siya sa both product and the service. So in both, in vertical, dapat magkaroon sila ng oriented strategy.
Last but not the least, a question from us hosts and from the sender of this story, Mrs. Carol. What advice would you give to Mrs. Carol Sullivan Diaz?
I would advise Carol Sullivan to appoint Larry Winters as the new leader kasi may linis yung track record niya, may experience na siya, may background na sa sales. Might as well na i-train ni Carol yung mga kapatid niya para sila yung mag-take over sa position niya in the near future para magtuloy-tuloy pa rin yung profit and mag-grow pa rin yung sales.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Denmark. What highly informative answers you've given to us. Again, thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for inviting me today.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much everyone for watching, and please tune in to our future stories.
The talk show where anyone can send their stories and join our discussions, lahat kasali. This has been the Kasali Talks. Bye!